Shalom Yasharala, peace Israel. First off, we would like to start off by giving praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash.
Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who has taught us this truth. And salutation to the hopeful elect out there laboring in truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, under the standard and the banner of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Alright, this is the brother Karal.
One war.
And we here to touch on the lesson, Lord's will that this lesson be edifying. Alright, and the lesson we're gonna go into is how the Lord is the man of war, and he defends and he fights for his people. All right, but only those that turn to him. You know what I'm saying? So just we're gonna bring out some precepts to back up the point. We're gonna start off with Exodus to bring it out. It's lucky. All right, and it says Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is his name. All right. So with the Lord being a man of war, he loves a good fight. And with him in the fight, you have to. There's an offense and a defense. So the Lord's gonna fight for his people. And there's times when the Lord's gonna have his people rise up to fight against the enemy. And also there's going to be a time where even when his people are defenseless, the Lord is going to stand up and fight against the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Which is beautiful.
Hey, that's exactly what it is. Because I remember reading a precept, right? When the Lord is all about warriors, man. Because like the Lord, if the Lord wants you, man, the Lord's gonna prove you. It's gonna allow you to go to different trials and tribulation to see what you're made of, man. Because what's that? Ecclesiasticus 25, for gold is shown in the fire, an acceptable man in the first adversity. So the Lord wants you to rely on Him for everything. When you're back against the wall, guess what? You're gonna call on the name of the Lord. The Lord's gonna deliver you.
That's the spirit, because the scripture says the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run it into it and is safe. All right, and when you look in the tower, you're high up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the Lord is that wall. It's that city. I mean, that wall amongst the city is you know what I'm saying? It's set up to keep the enemies out. That way, we can see the enemy and see that they're coming. So that the Lord is gonna fight for it. It's a safe haven.
Yeah, I was able to say that. That's a spirit, because a strong tower is a safe haven. It's a sanctuary, man.
That's right.
That's what keep you safe, man. And that's what we're gonna need. When all hell breaks loose, man, for the Lord to stand up for us, because these devils they're gonna do a number on our people once again.
That's right. So in the time that we're coming into, it's time for us to turn back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and call upon His name in a time of distress, because the Lord's gonna fight for you. All right. And this is let me grab a quick precept.
Bro.
It says, bear with me, Salaki.
Hey, that's exactly what it is, man. Hey, that's the attribute. That's the true attribute of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The Lord is a man of war, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is His name, man.
I'm gonna bring out two precepts, right? This is Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach 4:28. It says, "Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee." And these are the times that we're coming into. You know what I'm saying? That we hold fast to what we have. The Lord said He's gonna fight for us. He's gonna defend us. He's gonna make sure that we're good in that time. All right.
That's right.
And I got another precept. It says I'm gonna just jump straight to the point, all right? No, I'm gonna just start out. This is Deuteronomy 3:21. And I command Joshua at the time, saying, Thy eyes have seen all that the Lord your power have done unto these two kings. So shall the Lord do unto all kingdoms whither thou passest. Ye shall not fear them, for the Lord your power shall fight for you. All right.
Come on.
So it's telling you that we should not fear, not to have fear, neither have doubt. The Lord's gonna fight for you. You're in good hands.
And that's why it says, I think it's in Matthew, it says, fear not him which are able to destroy the body, but fear Him that can kill the body and destroy the soul, man.
That's right.
So are we supposed to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because the issue of death belongs to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. If the Lord is for us, who shall be against us, man?
That's right. All right, so I want to go into the book of Judith. All right. And I'm gonna start at this is chapter 5.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start at 11.
And that was what's this guy's name? Was giving intel about the how to take over how to destroy the Israelites, man. Because these nations, they Esau Edom, he has done a diligent search, man. They know what in order for them to conquer our people, they know they have to do certain things, man. And this guy was giving intel on how to take over the Israelites, man. You know, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, these devils, and that's why Esau Edom set up roadblock to our people by setting up these false pastors, false prophets, and use our people. You know, these artists, you know, R&B singers, and pay them billions of dollars to basically destroy our people by promoting nothing but wickedness, man.
Right, keeping us away from the Heavenly Father, keeping us away from His law, statutes, commandments, which outside of law, statute, commandments is death. All right. But I'm gonna start at verse 8. This is Judah 5 and 8. Right, and it says, "For they left the ways of their ancestor and worshipped the power of heaven and the power whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Then their
bro.
Then their power commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned and go into the land of Canaan." Canaan. And it says, "Where they dwelt and were increased with gold and silver and with very much cattle."
Hey, that's what's 2 Ezra 6 verse 54, that the earth is made for the sake of the Israelites.
That's
so
right.
Guess what? Hey, the Lord, when the kingdom set up, the Lord's gonna give us like all things, man. The desire for hearts, man. You know, because everything is set up is made up for us, man. Because we are the apple of the Lord's eyes, man. We are Yasharallah, man. You know, hey, the whole earth belongs to us, man.
That's right. This is verse 10. "But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, it says they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation." And that's going into the time of Pharaoh when they multiplied, increased, and in numbers. When Pharaoh was like, "Oh, if you know, we deal wisely with them, at least they come up and try to fight against us
and join on to the enemies." Right?
And it says, "Therefore, this is verse 11. Therefore, the kings of Egypt rose up against them and dwelt subtly with them."
It says, "Let us deal wisely with them." Where they destroyed the firstborn of the Israelites, and until today, Esau Edom pretty much doing the same thing all over again, man. That's why you have Planned Parenthood in every so-called Black Hispanics in the Americans neighborhood, man. In Esau Edom encouraged our women to kill our babies.
The babies. That's right. And it says, "And brought them low with laboring in bricks and made them slaves."
Yeah, that's slavery. That goes back to Egypt, man. And we are in modern day Egypt, America, man.
That's right.
The same thing's happening all over again, because this is everything that was written for a time was written for learning. So hey, we are here all over again. This time the Lord gonna deliver the remnant of His people. The whole nation is not gonna be saved this time. Only the remnant, the few.
All right. This is verse 12, and it says, "Then they cried unto their power, and he smote all the land of Egypt in incurable plagues, so the Egyptian cast them out of their sight." You know, and that shows you that's when Moses, by way of Moses, the Lord set up Moses to step up to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go, because if you don't, the Lord is gonna judge you guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's what took place. You know, the plague started to hit, and the Egyptians was feeling it. You know, it even got to the point where the people was telling Moses, like, not Moses, the Pharaoh was like to let them go. You know what I'm saying? Let them go. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart to show forth His power, His glory. You know, and it says verse 13, "And the Most High dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them into Mount Sinai, and Kadesh barn, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by the strength of them, by the strength all them of Esbon. Esbon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hills country."
Hey, we were kicking ass, man. You know, the Lord was with us, man. You know, we're kicking ass, man. And you know, we had Joshua and Caleb, Moses. Hey, that's what it is, man. These nations, when they see what the Lord did for us when He delivered us out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, hey, they had a fear, man. They know that there was a true power. There was a true power. Yahweh Hashem Messiah.
Right, and it was a power that dwelt with those people. You know,
and that's why they fear the most.
That's right. It says in verse 16, and they cast forth before them the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Jebusites and the Shechemites, and all the Gergesites and they that dwelt in the country many days.
Hey, so we were kicking ass, man. We did a number on those people, man. You know.
That's right. And it says, while they sinned not before their power, they prospered before the Lord, before Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
And that's a contract. For while they sin not, they were prospering. Because this nation, they always known that if we get these people in the region, if we promote negativity, if we basically, they know that
cut the cord,
you know,
cut the cord from our power.
Yeah,
you know?
that connection.
That's right, bro.
You know?
That's what it says. That crafty counsel that they took, you know, saying that to keep us, that Israel being no more remembrance.
Yeah,
you know?
and that it goes back to here, man.
That's right.
You know, and Esau knows that, man.
Right, and it says because the power had. Salak, let me start at verse 17 again. It says, and whilst they said not before their power, they prospered because the power, the Most High, that hated iniquity, was with them. It says, verse 18, but when they depart from the ways which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into the land that were not theirs.
Hey, these nations, they always known that if the Lord is not with us, they can do whatever they want to us, man. You know?
And a good account to look into is when the Babylonians came and took us into captivity. You know what I'm saying? That's when it was going off against the Lord, and the Lord brought up the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar to gather up the Israelites and bring them into captivity. You know, so it's showing you that, you know, even if we didn't keep the law, statute, commandments, which I said earlier, you know, anything outside the law, statute, commandments is death. The Lord brought, you know, he destroyed us. You know, we didn't have him on our side, so it's like, you know, we didn't have that defense, we didn't have that power with us, you know. And this is and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of the Most High was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by their enemies.
Hey, they always known that in order for them to conquer us, they have to destroy the temple.
That's right.
But this time they can't destroy the temple because this temple is spiritually, man.
That's right.
You know?
This is verse 19. But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruins, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. You know, it's telling you, like, they telling you that's them knowing and strategically, you know, thinking of ways to get rid of Israel by way of disconnecting them from their power. You know, going back to that crafty counsel. Like, we know that if their Lord is not with them, they're defenseless. You know what I'm saying?
And Esau's still doing it today. So let us give them jobs. Let us put the women over them. Let us put abortion clinics in their neighborhoods. You know, let us promote shrimp, crab, and lobster.
Yeah. Let us put wicked Israelites above them to promote wickedness. You know, promote that bullshit that Esau wants them to promote. That way we know, because they're gonna see that, especially Jake being in a low state, they're gonna see that and think that's the way of living. That's how you're supposed to do things. Like the brother said, that's the way of Esau Edom, still applying that rule and that strategy up to this day. All right, and it says verse 21, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
They have always known that, man. They have always known that in order for them to take us down, in order for them to conquer us, they have to cut that umbilical cord between us and Yahweh Hashem Messiah, because they know once we're in good term with the Lord, they can't do nothing against us, man. They can't do nothing against us, man. And that's what they fear the most, man. They see they fear the awakening of the Israelites, and that's why it's all today. We see Esau Edom using Kanye West just to put our people back to sleep, man. You know, the same thing is happening again, man. You know, because Esau's fear, man, because he knows that our awakening is his destruction, you know, his downfall, man.
All right, Khan, I got another precept. This is going into the account with the Moabites was going trying to come up against the Israelites, you know, but the Lord, what is it? Had them in derision.
Derision,
you know?
yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna start at Salakia. Let me start up. I'm gonna start at verse 14. This is 2 Kings 3:14. And Elisha said, "As the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, surely were it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, I will not look towards thee nor see thee. But now bring me a minstrel." And it come to pass when the minstrel played that the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said, "Thus said the Lord, make this valley full ditches. For thus said the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, in that ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beasts." All right, and it says, "And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord. He will deliver the Moabites also into your hand."
So we know if the Lord says something, guess what? You can bank on it.
That's right.
You know.
That's why he said it's a light thing. It's a light thing to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a light thing in the sight of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the Lord being a man of war.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And it says, verse 19, "And ye shall smite every fenced city in every choice city, and shall fell every good tree, and stop all wells of water, and mar every good piece of land with stones." And it came to, and you guys,
I was about to say the Lord is a stickler. The Lord give you a precise decision on what to do.
Exactly.
What to do. The Lord give you instruction on what to do in order for you to be successful, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And then, yeah, like you said, he gives precise instruction, and the only way you can win is by you going by that precise instruction. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, follow the instruction.
That's right.
Now, being a soldier, what you have to instruction. You have to do what's required of you. You know
exactly. And it says, verse 20, "It came to pass in the morning when the meat offering was offered, that behold, there came water by way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor and upward, and stood in the borders." All right, and that's a miracle that the Lord did, because He said that it was going to be no water. It says it's going to be no rain, neither rain. It says, "Ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain. Yet that valley shall be filled with water." So it was a miracle that the Lord had did, but it was a purpose on why He did that miracle. And it says, verse 22, "And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water, and the Moabites saw the water on the other side as red as blood." It's like that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful miracle, because when I'm saying, just thinking about that, if you ever was in a place and you seen the sun shining off of water, and it looked like blood, it will blow your mind, like, oh shit. But the Lord did that to put a trick on them.
Yeah.
All right.
Just like he did it to Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the Lord instructed Moses to basically turn the water into blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the staff, right?
Yep. And this is verse 23, and they said, "This is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore Moab to the spoil." So the Lord the Lord did that that miracle to play them to think that they had killed each other, or they was killed. You know what I'm saying? They was slain, but not knowing that the Lord was messing with their minds. That that's what say they was more focused on the spoil now, because it's like, oh, now we can go take whatever they have.
The Lord trick them.
That's right. And it says, "And when they came to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and smote the Moabites, so that they fled before them. But they went forward, smiting the Moabites even in their country." So they just continued. The Israelites rose up. Our people rose up and started slaying the Moabites, even into their country. That's right. Even going into their land. So that's a beautiful thing that the Lord has set up by way of setting up a miracle by him fighting for us, him defending us, you know. Like you said, bro, the Lord gave us a proper instruction, you know, so how to go about it, and guess what? He banked on it. You know what I'm saying?
The Lord is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So
That's right.
just like the Lord fought for us, hey, when all hell break loose, because all hell's about to break loose, man. When all hell break loose, hey, the Lord's gonna do the same thing all over again for his elect, you know. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what keeps us stable, because we know the Lord is faithful and true. When he says something, you can bank on it, right? And also too, hey, that's what that comes with faith, man. That comes with faith, because we know, because we know the true characteristic of Yahweh Hashem Messiah. When all hell breaks loose, we're not gonna be shocked, man. We're gonna be stable. You know, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. You know, and that's exactly what's gonna keep us stable when all hell breaks loose, man. We know the true attribute of Yahweh Hashem Messiah, that is a man of war, man. So a man of war, guess what? They love drama, man. The Lord set this whole movie up so that at the end, or he can be exalted, man. Yahushua can be exalted, which is his nomen omen, man. That is the prediction, man. He's gonna save his people, man, the elect of his people, man.
Come on. And this is going to another precept. This is the book of Joshua, and I'm gonna start at verse 9. Oh, let me see. I want to build up into the story. All right, I'm gonna start at verse 6, and then go down. It says Joshua 10:6, and the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp of Gilgal, saying, Slack not thy hand from thy servant, come up to us quickly and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorite that dwelled in the mountains are gathered together against us.
Before that, you went into the Moabites, now the Ammonites. So this nation, they're always against us, and we always at war against these nations, man.
That's right.
You know?
And it says, verse 7, so Joshua sent from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear them not. Once again, the Lord sent them to fear them not. You know what I'm saying?
Come.
It says, fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hands already. So that's a prophecy. It was already spoken of before it happened. The Lord said it's done.
He declared it from the beginning.
That's right.
You know? That's his blueprint. So he knows what the outcome. You know.
He said, I delivered them into your hand already. So don't fear. You know what I'm saying? It's just man. It's just man that you know what I'm saying? A natural nature. You know what I'm saying?
To fear.
Yeah, come.
And the scripture says the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear.
That's right.
And that's what's gonna. That's what the Lord wants from you, man. He wants you to put your trust fully in Him.
That's right. It says, fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hands. There shall not a man of them stand before thee.
That's right.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night, and the Lord discomfited them before Israel.
That's right.
And slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Betharon, and smote them to Azekah and to Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down of Betharon, the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died.
So the Lord has infinite ways to kill you, man.
Yes,
So
right.
that's why the Scripture says it's a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the living power.
And he was also known as Alashadya.
Yeah.
You know,
demon-like power.
Demon-like power. That's what the heathens knew our power as. You know, Alashadya. You know, because they know he's a fearful power. You know, you know, that's why they say if we disconnect them from their power, we gonna overtake them.
Yeah, the same agenda is still here today, man. You know, that's why this elite. That's why they get the blueprint. That's what the says Esau has done a diligent search, man. So he studied the Bible. He knows how to conquer our people, man. You know, that's why our people are dead. You know, the dead body shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So our people, they are zombies, man. They are walking. They're walking. But they're dead, man, because they have the knowledge of Yahweh Hashem Messiah, man. That's why this enemy has conquered them, man.
That's why it said, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. It's polluted, and it will destroy you with a sword destruction." All right, and that sword destruction is Yahweh Hashem Messiah, bringing these plagues upon the earth. You know, because of by way of our people not wanting to remove themselves out of the, you know what I'm saying, the worldly ways. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, your trust in Egypt shall be your shame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So by them not wanting to depart from this world and turn back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, guess what? They're gonna go down. You know, going back to them saying if our power be, if they sinned against their power, he should lead them into captivity. He should destroy them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's taking place. But that's gonna happen to 2/3 of our people. But the elect and 1/3 of our people is gonna turn back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and you know, and the Lord's gonna have mercy on his people, and he's gonna fight for them as he constantly did.
Like he did before. So everything is gonna come back full circle, man.
That's right.
You know.
It says, they were more which died with hailstone than them of whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. So more of them died from the hailstones than actually the men of Israel putting the swords to them. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you that the Lord did most of the work.
Yeah, most of the work. Yeah.
He did most of it.
Hey, before it says, I will fear not, I will give them into their hands, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it says, verse 12, then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stood until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemy.
Imagine that, bro. Having the moon stand, you know.
24 hours there per day, or however long it was that it was needed for them to destroy their enemy.
I mean, that's a marvelous sight, man.
You know, even in war, you can be like, because you know, usually when you're fighting, and like when you look at wars and look at these movies about war, you know, somebody's gonna win and then they retreat. You know what I'm saying? They retreat because there's always gonna be a time where it's like, you know, they have to go back because nighttime you can't fight a war at night. I mean, unless they do like a you know, a stealthy move, like basically trying to creep up on you, whatever the case may be. But 9 times out of 10, when it's a battle, it usually take place in the day. So now, how much more the sun being up and it's like burning you and you draining your energy is hot. You know what I'm saying? The Lord stood kept the sun up. You know, that way, you know. Especially when you look at it in the sense of the Lord being with your power, for those that are part of Israel that knows that the Lord's with them, you know, they know that it's part of the Lord's work. But for them, they probably was like, oh, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, their mind was off of the battle, you know what I'm saying? It was like, it messed up their focus.
Yeah,
you know
that's like a faith booster, you know? It keeps you going, you know?
Yeah, it makes you want to, make you want to slaughter them some more.
Like, oh shit, the Lord is with us. The Lord is with us, man.
That's right.
Like, it gave you motivation, you know what I mean?
And it says, it is not this written in the book of Joshua? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. So it was a whole day that the sun stood up. Right. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord had hearkened unto the voice of men, for the Lord fought for Israel.
It says the Lord fought for Israel. You know, goes back to Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war, man. So the Lord is the one that does the fighting, man.
That's right.
You know?
He said, you know, it was no day like that before nor after. You know? So with that being said, like, that's a day that, you know, that's why it's in the scripture, because it's something that you know what I'm saying, it's remarkable. It's like a memorial. It's like something that you will always remember.
Yeah, that's kind of it goes back to Roman. Everything that was written for time
was written for our learning.
You know, that's a memorial. That's what we're gonna need to keep us stable when all hell breaks loose, man. You know,
that's right.
Know the stories, you know. What's that? Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 verse 9. You know, You
want me to grab it?
Babakusha, yeah. Matter of fact, start with verse 5. We're gonna go down to verse 9.
2 verse 5.
Yeah, Ecclesiasticus.
Alright, this is Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, 2 verse 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
So in order for you to be tried, the Lord gonna have to allow you to go to different things, you know, different trials and tribulation, so that you can, your only option gonna be on Him, man. You're gonna be relying on Him, because you're gonna have no power in your hand to save yourself, man. That's right. So that the name of the Lord can be glorified, you know.
That's right. It says verse 6: believe in Him, and He will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in Him. So
when all hell breaks loose, man, faith, having to put your faith in your hand and your life in your Yahweh Hashem hands, that's exactly what's gonna take, man. That's exactly what's going to be, you know.
That's right. And it says verse 7: ye that fear the Lord Wait for his mercy and go not aside, lest ye fall.
Fear, right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom, right?
That's right, Khan.
That's exactly what it is. When you fear the Lord, you'll be like, oh, okay, the issue of life and death belongs to Yahweh Hashem Shai. You know, the Lord kill it, the Lord make it alive. So this is gonna keep you stable, man. You know.
That's right. Verse 8 says, "Ye that fear the Lord, believe Him, and your reward shall not fail."
Your reward shall not fail, man.
Khan. And your reward could also be the Lord fighting for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the Lord's gonna come through. He's gonna bank, like the brother said. You can bank on it.
Yeah,
you know.
Come.
It says, verse 9: "Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercies."
Come, hope for good and everlasting joy and mercy, and that's what. Again, we're gonna go back to Isaiah 23:6, right? Mm-hmm. We hoping for goods, man.
That's
we
right.
hope our trust. We put our trust, our hope in Yahweh Hashem Shai. You know,
That's
because
right.
we have no other options out of here, man.
It says, "Look at the generation of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded?
Hell no.
Or did any abide in His fear and was forsaken?"
You can't. So look, when you go back to look at the history of the three holy children, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, how they were thrown into the fire furnace. The Lord fight for them, man. The Lord saved them, man.
Just like Daniel's in the lion's den, He shut the mouth of the lions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and still fed Daniel.
Can.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
By
that's
way
right.
of Habakkuk.
Yeah, you can.
Like
Just like Elijah when Jezebel was running after him.
That's right.
The Lord preserved him.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is, man. That's exactly what's it's going to be like, you know.
Or whom did He ever despise that called upon Him?
That's right, none, man. So guess what? When all hell breaks loose, our faith, our hope in Yahweh Hashem Shai is what's gonna save us, man. You know, and that's exactly what it is, man. When all hell breaks loose, man, we're gonna need to think about these different scenarios in our mind and play that in our mind so that we can rely on them, man. We can practice it, man. You know.
Yeah, I got one more precept, one more story to go into the account with Heliodorus.
Yeah. Wanted to go into the temple.
That's right.
You know, to steal the money from the treasure.
That's right. Just bear with me. Just trying to find a good place to start. You know what? I can probably start at the top and just read down. Just to get the understanding. All right, this is 2 Maccabees 3:1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace and the laws were kept very, very well because of the godliness of Onias the high priest and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts. Right.
And that's a prelude of what's to come, man. It was Isaiah 60 that the forces of the Gentiles shall be converted unto thee. So all this nation, they're gonna give reverence, they're gonna bring gift to the Israelites, to first and foremost to Yahweh Hashem Shai, to beautify the place of his sanctuary.
That's right. And it says, going back to the verse 1, it says, and the law was kept very well. So going back to showing you that keeping the law is by way of showing you that, you know, you trust in Lord and you keeping His ways, He's gonna make sure you're good. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna make sure you're taken care of.
That's right.
Right. And it says, verse 3, insomuch that solutions of Asia of his own revenues bared all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifice. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about a disorder in the city. All right, and when he could not overcome Onias, he got him to Apollonius, the son of Therses, whom then was governor of Syria and Phoenice, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money.
That's the wicked of all people, man.
That's right.
The wicked of all people.
Sellout.
The sellout of all people. They have always in league with the enemy, man. They wanted to basically to we have always had sellout among our nation, man.
That's right.
They always want to go to the enemies, right? You know, to destroy people, man.
And it says, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifice, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hands. Now when Apollonius came to the king, he had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the aforesaid money.
Come on, they wanted to go, bro.
Nah, it's showing you that that he sent out Heliodorus to go collect the money from the temple. Because of the sellout, Simon went and told, because of his falling out with the high priest with Onias, showing you, like the brother said, man, you have sellouts amongst our people, So he basically set up our people by telling the enemy about our treasury, the temple, about what goes on within Israel, and he wanted to take the money, because he said it was innumerable. So by him receiving those riches, or the amount of money, it would have made them look good, because because it was innumerable. Like I said, it was a massive amount. All right. So he felt like he was doing a good thing unto himself. And he says, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visits to the city of Cilicia and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and the fatherless children.
So the money was there to basically take care of the church, man.
It was for a purpose.
The fatherless, the widow.
That's right. It was for a reason.
Purpose.
Yeah, it's
for a reason.
That's right. It says,
and that's what the true purpose of that's what the back then they used to pay what is the tithe?
Yeah,
tithe. The 10% of 10%, basically to take care of the fatherless, the widow, man.
That's right. And even that showing you that Israel had a structure. We had a structure back then. We all took care of each other. You know what I'm saying? And it says, verse 11, and that some of it belonging to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias.
Hyrcanus?
Yeah.
Son of Tobias?
Tobias, you read the book of Tobit, you can go into that, you know what I'm saying, what's his name? Tobit sending his son Tobias to go collect some money. You know what I'm saying?
The money,
And a man of great dignity, and was not as that wicked Simon had misinformed.
That's right.
The sums whereof in all was 400 talents of silver, and 200 of gold.
Yeah, that's I can't even put that in amount. That's what says
dollar amount,
innumerable, right? That was a lot of money. Because that's true money, gold and silver.
That's right.
That's true money,
And it says, and that it was altogether impossible that such wrong should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place, to the majesty and inviolable Saint Salakia, inviolable.
What is it? Sanctity.
Yeah, sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury.
So Heliodorus was like the king ambassador. He basically carried out the commandment of the king, man.
That's right.
And the kings wanted to basically to sow the money that was in the treasury, for himself,
That's right. So verse 14. So at the day which he appointed, he entered into the order this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. But the priests, prostrating themselves before the altar in the priest's vestment, called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to he kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Then whoso had looked to the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared in his inward agony of his mind. So the priest was grief, man. It was because of the thing that was taking place, which is Heliodorus coming to try to take the money from the temple, which they know, was set up by the Lord, for a reason. Right? And it says, verse 17, for the men was so compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart. So you can see it on his countenance. You know what I'm saying? Right? They can see that something wasn't right. Right? And it says, verse 18, others ran flocking out of their house to the general supplication, because the place was like to come into contempt. And the woman girt with sackcloth under their breasts abound in the streets, and the virgins that were kept and ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out the window, and all holding their hands towards heaven made supplications.
So they were praying to Yahweh Hashem Shai to basically to fight for them.
That's right.
You know.
And it says, then it would have pitied a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sort, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. They then called upon the Almighty Lord to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. So he still went, like, although this was taking place, Heliodorus still went through and tried to take the money. Right? Now, as he was there present himself with his guards about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High.
So out of nowhere, there appeared an angel, man.
That's right.
that would freak you out.
That's
man.
right. And fainted and were so afraid, for there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon it, and endured with a very fair covering, and he ran fiercely and smote Heliodorus with his forefeet, and it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold.
Hey,
man, that's the appearance of the angel.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's right, God.
And it says, moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel.
It reminded me of Lot, when the angels was warning Lot to flee the city. How beautiful, what's the scriptures describe the angels like? They were comely. They have something. They have beauty about themselves.
That's
when
right.
In the midst of Sodom, they wanted to sleep with the angels, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, come on. And it says, comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side and scourged him continually, and he gave many sore stripes. So they was beating him.
It
was beating him. He said he gave him many sore stripes.
And
it said, and Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guards into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledged the power of the Most High.
They have no other choice but to praise Yahweh Hashem Shai, man. You know, because they know that what just happened, hey, that came from a power beyond
far beyond.
You know?
It says 29. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and laid speechless without all hopes of life. But they praised the Lord and had miraculously honored his own place, for the temple which is little afore was full of fear and trouble. When the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. So they're showing you that he came and he fought. That's going back to the point of lesson about how the Lord is a man of war, and when we call upon his name, and you know, it shows you that he's going to defend us. That's the same thing that happened in this case. You know, there was trouble that came into the city, right? They all came and they prayed and, you know, gave supplication unto the Lord, and the Lord came and defended them.
It reminded me like this is in our Chronicle. If my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves and seek my face and turn from the wickedness, the wicked ways, then will I turn and heal their lands, man. So the Lord is if we were to basically to our people as a whole, if they were to basically stop whatever they were doing, stop and turn to Yahweh Hashem Shai, hey, the Lord will come and take us away from this condition that we're in as a nation, man.
That's right, And it says they was filled with joy. So before they was full of fear, but now that they seen that the Lord defended them, they was full of joy. They was cheering, they was happy. And it says, then straightway, this is verse 31, and then straightway certain of Heliodorus' friend prayed Onias that he would call upon the Lord, call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who laid ready to give up the ghost.
That's right. He was about to die.
You know,
because the angel basically whipped him. You know.
like beat him damn near to death. You know?
Yeah.
And it says, so the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Now,
this an offer sacrifice.
Yep. Offer a sacrifice for the health of the man.
Yeah,
So
the priest prayed to Yahweh Shai to Heliodorus, you know, so that the king won't know that the Jews had did something to him.
Yeah.
Onto him,
because that would have waged war.
Yeah, right. Because basically, once you heard the king ambassador, that's a declaration of war.
That's right. And it says, verse 33. Now, as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus, saying, Give Onias the high priest great thanks, for insomuch as for his sake the Lord had granted thee life. So because of Onias the high priest giving that sacrifice and giving praise unto the Lord, and you know, and pleading the case on behalf of Heliodorus. Only reason why, because they didn't want the king to come down, like you said, because they didn't want to seem like they touched the king's ambassador. You know, he gave him back life because of Onias giving his atonement. You know what I'm saying? The atonement and sacrifice to the Lord. You know, so that's why the angel told him, give thanks to Onias. You know, it's because of him is why you're back. You know?
You're the reason. He's the reason why you're still alive. You know.
And this verse 34, and seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of the Most High. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more.
The angels disappear. You know.
All right. Verse 35. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great power which he had seen with his eyes. and when the king Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, this is the funny part, right?
Yeah.
So the king wanted Heliodorus to go back again.
Yeah.
And this is what he said. He said, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged. So he's saying, like, if you got even your worst enemy or a traitor that you don't like, send him there. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and you're gonna receive him well scourged, well fucked up, well beat up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Same thing that happened to Heliodorus. Yeah. And it says, if he escaped with his life. You know what I'm saying? That's if he escaped with his life. You know what I'm saying? Because Heliodorus barely made it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it says, if he escaped with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of the Most High.
Yeah, and that's why they had to destroy the temple. The Babylonians had to destroy the temple.
Exactly.
Because they knew that was a connection to Yahweh Shai, but this time this temple is a spiritual temple.
So they can't put hands, they can't lay hands. Yeah.
That's why he sort of know how to approach us, because he doesn't know, bro. He doesn't know, because like, the Lord put a stumbling block on front of him. He doesn't know how to basically to come at us, because he just the Lord. That's how the Lord works, man.
That's right. It says, verse 39, for he that dwelleth in heaven hath eyes on that place and defended it.
So the Lord's, at the end of the day, the Lord's gonna preserve his elect, man. So none of his elect shall perish, man. You know?
And he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out of this sort. All right, so that's just going into the account of Heliodorus and what took place when we turn back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Show you that he's gonna fight for us. You know, he's gonna destroy our enemies. We just gotta do according to what the Lord says. We just keep his law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. Go out on the highways and byways and declare his words. You know, push this truth unto the nations. And show our people who are the so-called Black, Hispanics, Native, and Seminole Indians, who they really are, and turn back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because we want to get out of here. You know, this is how we're gonna get out of here. We're not gonna get out of here by way of voting and all that stuff. We're not gonna receive that kingdom. We're not gonna receive our kingdom. We're gonna receive our kingdom by way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And it's crazy, because now that you know, the Lord's gonna come back physically. Yahweh Shah's gonna come back with his holy angels to wage war with these heathens.
Okay.
You know, so that's just us declaring and turning back, going back to us coming together and us declaring the coming of our Lord and doing and keeping the works. That's the elect, I should say. You know, keeping the Lord's commandments to the best of their abilities. Guess what? The Lord's gonna actually come back. And we're gonna see with our own eyes, out on our mountains, out we're part of that number, the downfall of our enemy. Once again.
Just go back earlier. It says, fight for the truth until death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
That's right, Khan. So, you know, that's why the scripture says the righteous stand in boldness in front of the face of them that afflicted them. Yeah. So, you know, this was taking place right in front of us. But, you know, the main point of it is that if we continue doing what we're doing, you know, the Lord's gonna fight for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's without a doubt. So he said, fear not. You know, the Lord's gonna be with you in that time. You know, so just continue doing what you're doing, and you know, just pray and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, just for the simple fact that he's willing to defend us. You know, and this is like primarily to the elect. 2/3 of our people they're not gonna get it, and they're not gonna consider. You know, but to the elect, just keep praying and giving thanks to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, just for the simple fact that he's with us. You know, and keep doing what you need to do. All right, so with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to my apostles, elders, the great millstone once again, who rule well and who has taught us his truth. And salutation to the hopeful elect out there laboring in truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, understand it in the banner of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. All right, with that, let's say Shalom and Abba Baba.